Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode on the channel. Today we're going to be making a slow cooker tomato masala based vegetable meal that you can add some protein into, such as chickpeas or tofu if you want to add an additional protein to it to make it a complete meal. I like to just keep it as vegetables because I like to pair it with a lentil dal or something else you can make in the slow cooker or in your Instant Pot. So let's get to the recipe. So our recipe today is going to be completed in 3 simple steps. First, you want to assemble all of your spices and your ingredients. That's the mise en place. It's very easy and it makes your life a breeze, especially when you want to make the recipe really fast and everything comes together in like 15 to 20 minutes once you get your ingredients going. So I suppose that's step 1, but really our real step number 1 is going to be to fry the spices, then blend some tomato sauce with cashew cream or soaked cashews and veggie broth or water, and then finally add everything to the slow cooker. So 3 simple steps that you can use to make this recipe pretty quickly right after you assemble your ingredients and also cut up your vegetables. In order to get the most flavor in our recipe, we will temper the spices before adding them all to the slow cooker. The slow cooker makes your life really easy because you can ignore everything that's cooking once it's all in there, but the spices do, in my opinion, need a little bit of toasting or tempering in order to have a truer Indian full-bodied flavor to the dish. So what we'll do, we're gonna add a tablespoon or 2 of avocado oil. I actually recommend 2 because I'm making a large portion in the slow cooker so that it'll last all week. We will fry those 2 tablespoons of oil with our spices. We're gonna have 2 sort of rounds of spices that we're gonna fry. The first round is gonna fry on high heat, specifically because we're frying up some cumin seeds and you want them to pop. Secondly, we will then lower the heat after that initial round of spices has been fried, and we will cook our other sort of larger base of spices on a lower temperature because you just want them to be fragrant. You want to be careful not to over fry or burn your spices at this phase. For the second phase of our recipe, we will take our Vitamix. No surprise there because it is a super high-speed blender. If you're interested in looking at the one that I love the most, it's also linked in the caption. We will add a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. You can even use whole tomatoes if you want. This is completely up to you, but I like the canned stuff because it has a great pantry and shelf life, and then you can use it in your recipes basically all year round. I'm gonna add 1 cup's worth of cashews. So in my free time, whenever I know I'm gonna be making recipes that require lots of cream, I like to abstain from using coconut cream or coconut milk because it has a lot of saturated fat, but this is completely a great option if you're nut free, for example. I like to opt for cashews in my meals instead because they don't have saturated fat, and I just kind of like the way that they taste. They have a neutral flavor, while in my opinion the coconut flavor is a little bit forward. So we're going to be blending 1 cup's worth of cashews, and what I do with the cashews before that you won't see in this recipe, but I definitely like to practice at my house, is I'll soak a large batch of 3 cups of cashews in water, and then I will blend everything in the Vitamix until it's really nice and creamy, and then I will freeze them into individual large ice cubes that I can then defrost and pull out and add to my stews, into my mixtures, into my sauces. It just makes your life easier. Everything will be linked in the description so you have it all there for you in terms of the ingredients. So the tomatoes, the cashews, and the water will be added to the Vitamix and blended until it's a really nice bright orange sauce with a very gentle flavor profile, because once we add the spices to our mixture, those flavors really come to life within the sauce. So to assemble and combine everything, it's very simple. You want to add the can of tomatoes, 28 ounces worth, and then rinse the tin with water so that you use all of those tomatoes up using 6 cups of water, then add to the Vitamix. Add some veggie powder. If you want to use veggie broth, you can do this too, and 1 cube of your cashew cream and blend together until super smooth. The Vitamix makes this in 30 seconds max. And lastly, our final and perhaps most important step is to add our vegetables that I haven't talked about yet, our tomato sauce that we blended in the Vitamix, and our spices into our slow cooker. The vegetables we will be using today are bell peppers, carrots, and potatoes. Also peas and green beans that I'm using from frozen, but you can feel free to use fresh. And all you need to do is basically mix everything in the slow cooker. And for today, I'm gonna cook it on high for 4 hours. You can also do 3. You just wanna make sure that the vegetables are fully cooked, or if you're leaving your house, you can cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. So now the wonderful ingredients that we're going to assemble in our slow cooker. There's a lot of spices, so I'm gonna leave them all in the description. We even have one called the safatita, which I highly recommend you add to this recipe. It's a very specific Indian spice. It kind of tastes like onion and garlic, but I love it. So I'm gonna leave that in the description for you all. So you add it. Garam masala is in there, cumin seeds, we have bay leaves, a lot of aromatics. It's one of my favorite things about Indian cuisine. And you can kind of do it in the slow cooker by tempering those spices beforehand and then adding everything in. So we have our vegetables, which are a lot because I cook for several days. I'm not cooking every day. We have red bell peppers, carrots, and Yukon Gold potatoes. You can use whatever potatoes you prefer, but I think these look a little prettier. I think they have a really nice buttery flavor as is. So those are vegetables. I did mention in the intro of this video that you can add chickpeas or tofu if you want protein, but I kind of forgot that I'm adding green peas and green beans. So these are already legumes and they are a protein addition, but if you want even more protein and you're plant-based, feel free to add some sort of lentils, chickpeas, whatever you want, but I'm just gonna add these beans. I'm gonna bring over the sauce that I just made. It's really basically like a creamy tomato sauce base. We're gonna add our spices, and we're also gonna be adding 2 tablespoons of chili garlic paste. I like to add this because I like the flavor that it imparts on Indian cuisine, but you can choose to omit it if you prefer. So adding this all to the slow cooker is very straightforward. Add all of your vegetables, room temperature ones and the frozen ones. Add your tempering of spices and all of the oil and your tomato sauce mixture. Combine with the spatula until even and cook on high for 3 to 4 hours or low 6 to 8 hours. The goal is to make sure that those potatoes are properly cooked. There's nothing worse than a vegetable that isn't nice and soft, so make sure that everything is really beautifully cooked by the end of your cooking time. It should be a beautiful, luxurious, deep red, almost orange color. I like to store the rest of it in a really large plastic Tupperware where it will live in my refrigerator for a week to 10 days, where I will eat it for the entire week. And when it's ready to go, you can serve it up with some fresh cilantro and some lemon juice. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this recipe, if you will try it or what you would do differently. In addition, give it a like, make sure to subscribe to the channel for full recipes every single Friday and daily shorts. See you next time.